This episode of Ladies Who Leap is brought to you by Pacific Business Partners. Pacific Business Partners helps women entrepreneurs replace the chaos of running a business with clarity, structure, and confident financial decisions. From bookkeeping and fractional CFO support to marketing strategy and operations, Pacific Business Partners builds the systems that let you finally step out of the day-to-day and lead. Learn more at pacificbp.com or follow them on Instagram at Pacific Business Partners. Welcome to the empowering world of the Ladies Who Leap podcast, where brave souls share their remarkable journeys of venturing beyond their comfort zones to craft lives filled with passion and purpose. Have you ever looked around your home and thought, why can't I let this stuff go? What if the answer has nothing to do with being organized and everything to do with your emotions, your identity, and your past? In today's Ladies Who Leap episode, I sit down with ICF certified life coach and compassionate decluttering founder, Michelle Hoff, to uncover the surprising psychology behind clutter, why willpower isn't enough, and how creating space in your home can transform your life. If you're ready to feel lighter, calmer, and more aligned, you won't want to miss this conversation. Michelle reminds us to stop looking at your stuff. Start imagining the life you'll have when it's gone. This is Ladies Who Leap. Hi, welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today I have Michelle Hoff. Michelle Hoff is an ICF certified virtual life coach, speaker, and the CEO of Compassionate Decluttering, where she helps women in midlife reclaim their homes, minds, and habits through powerful mindset transformation. Michelle is also the author of the Amazon best-selling workbook, Compassionate Decluttering, How to Soulfully Surrender Your Stuff, where she bridges emotional insight with practical action. Her Align method, both of these, the compassionate decluttering and the Align method, are trademarked by her, is a proven framework that shifts decluttering from overwhelming and cyclical to intentional and sustainable. At the heart of her work is team decluttering, a revolutionary collaboration between client, mindset coach, and professional organizer that accelerates progress, deepens emotional breakthroughs, and creates lasting change. Welcome, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad we met on LinkedIn because I love what you're doing. I mean, I did hear there was a woman who does remodeling and things, and she likes to take what you have and maybe reposition it or make it look better simply by the things that you already have. And she did a presentation for us in a networking meeting, and she said, get rid of all your stuff because nobody's going to care about all your stuff after you're gone. So that is something that I've taken to heart. And every once in a while, not sit there, I go out into my garage, into closets, and I just purge them because I don't want to make it difficult for my nephew or relatives when I'm gone. There's no reason to have all this stuff. So I just had to say that in the beginning.
Yay, congratulations for that. I'm
that.
just looking at your adorable dog back there.
I know.
He's so chill. It's so sweet.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, everybody, if she's a distraction.
No, but it just says that the space is relaxing. The space is tranquil, and that's what spaces should be about. I mean, can be about if you so seek it.
Yeah. Thank you. So normally I always ask about a guest's childhood and would love to have you share a story you had shared with me when you were about 5 years old. How did that impact how you are today and what you do?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I grew up in a very small town in northwestern Minnesota, um, called, I have to say it, Climax, Minnesota. And
Sorry.
I
Poor
know,
people.
I know, but it's actually was named after a type of snuff in the, early 1900s or something. So, um, but it was a lovely place to grow up. 250 people, super safe, easy to move around. My mom, my father owned or managed the gas station in town, and my mom was, you know, a housewife at 27 with six children or four children under 6 years old. And I was the second oldest. So, and my life in that home was beautiful, Scandinavian sensibilities, tidy, orderly, all that good stuff. But her deal was go outside and play. We'd have breakfast, and the three older kids would get outside and scatter and play. And one thing in retrospect I realized is that I was actually a pretty lonely kid. There was a sense that I didn't really feel like I was connected to my family. We were sort of independent little soldiers or whatnot, going about our business. And I was looking for connection and a sense of belonging at that age. And this is all in retrospect, right? But my instinct was, oh, go over to that neighbor across the way, get on your banana seat bike, and ride your bike over to that neighbor who's was it was a household of four rambunctious boys. And the mom, her name was Mary Ann. I'll never forget her, man. This is in the 60s, okay? She was smoking Marlboros and drinking Coke, all day long. That's all I ever saw with her. And she was outside hanging out with the boys, engaging with them. So I rode over there and I dropped my bike and I'm like, she just included me into this mayhem so easily and never gave it a second thought. And maybe because I was a girl, I was nice to have around. And I just remember feeling so included and so seen and a part of the fun immediately. And I would spend, I can't remember how many summers and years I would spend over there. Um, and we moved to another town, a bigger city of 10,000 people when I was 9. And I found myself seeking another mom, another family to hang out with. And so I found a mom who had 6 children. And I loved being a part of that, sort of that energy in the home. And she was so loving and so caring and just really appreciated who I was. Um, and that kind of seeking is something I've continued to do, even when I went to college. I wasn't happy at the university I first started at. I realized I was paying for college on my own. And I realized I get to go anywhere I want, people. And I went to my high school counselor's office. I knew I wanted to go to the mountains somewhere. Had a really big fascination for Colorado. Went to the C section, opened up one of those college catalogs that you get. Nobody does it physically anymore. They're all online. But there was a Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. I found out I could pay enough, the same amount as what I was paying in Minnesota. I'm like, heck, signed up, got myself some financial aid, figured out a way to get a plane ticket. I'd never been on a plane before, and a bus ticket, and my 4 boxes and my pillow to Durango, Colorado. When I ended up there, through lots of dismal kind of towns, actually on my bus ride there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But when I got to Durango in the morning, it was just it was a college up on a mesa, mountains in the background. It was just a phenomenal experience. And what I realized in that adventure was, wow, I can do anything I want. I can trust my instincts. I can follow through with a plan. I can trust myself to want to, you know, expand my life. So, in that whole process, I just, I really learned to trust myself, and it just has never, and to listen to the seeker inside of me. So I've done that for years,
Yeah.
decades.
It sounds like to me when you were talking about the childhood of constantly seeking, right? Another family, another mom that would more include you and feel more inclusive. It was a sense of looking for belonging,
Yes.
in a way. Yeah. And when you say trusting yourself, well, now you realize I belong. I am who I am and I belong anywhere that I'm at, whether it's in Minnesota or in the mountains going to school in Colorado. So I'm glad that your own process of getting to the point of feeling that you belong and trusting yourself is something you went through naturally.
Yeah,
Mhm.
really organically. And
Mhm.
I'm really impressed with that little kid,
Mm.
even that, younger adult. It was, you know, uh, I'm really proud of that
Yeah.
initiative.
Yeah. And it made you who you are today. You really had an interest, I guess, in design and home. That was your focus. From our conversation, you started with a company called Room and Board Home Furnishings.
Well, yeah, that's a company that's a corporate company here in Minneapolis. Yeah,
Yeah. And can you talk to that journey and what lessons you learned from those years?
absolutely. Well, so the love of home really, I mean, I mowed lawns when I was a kid. In when I could drive, haul my lawnmower over to neighbors' houses, I did that. So there's sort of an entrepreneurial spirit that runs in my family. My grandparents were farmers as well as upholsterers and sign painters. So it was familiar to me to see people having their own business. So when I was in college, after I went to Durango, I ended up at the University of Minnesota in my degrees in horticulture. And in that degree program, I needed to make full-time money, work flexible hours, and I was a good cleaner. It's one of those things I got praised for when I was a kid. So I decided to start a cleaning business called Maximum Joy Domestic Management. And my tagline was nearly neurotic. I can't really tell if I was, but there are better cleaners in the world. But I made a really great business out of it and worked beautifully in, around my college. I was going to do that for 2 years. I ended up doing it for 10 years. I loved owning my own business. I loved helping clients create spaces or support them in their lives as they were going off into the world doing amazing things. And I felt that I contributed to their success in some ways. Um, and then I was feeling the need to get connected with my design skills, and the landscape design class I had in college really sparked an interest and a love for design. So thinking I just going to take a little parlay in a design job for a year to figure out what next I wanted to do. I did land at Room and Board Home Furnishings here in Minneapolis in sales, and I was going to be there for a year, but I ended up loving that company and that culture, and I was there for 10 years as well, working in various capacities, helping with service issues. I was a manager and shipping manager, and also did training and education for them over those 10 years. So just loving being around people's homes again. And my job was restructured. I mean, yes, I was structured out of my job. The receptionist came into Room and Board that day as a temp. She told me about life coaching. There's no mistakes in the world.
Yeah,
And
nothing's coincidental.
no, because she talked about life coaching like, oh, there's curiosity and there's questions and helping people create a really full and fulfilled life, holding them accountable and, just being curious about where they want to be in their life. I'm like, well, as a manager, that's what I used to do. And that's what I love to do as a human being. I'm very curious about what people are up to and what makes them happy and tick. So I got my certification in life coaching and went on a walk in the Pyrenees Mountains with a bunch of life coaches from around the world. And my task was to figure out what I was going to do to contribute to the world on that journey with those life coaches. And it was in the Pyrenees Mountains in France. So that was a nice thing to do.
Ooh, yeah. There's a couple leaps that have happened here, right? Moving with your family, leaping into these families as you're a kid,
Yes.
then realizing that you leapt into your first business on your own and you were really
Yes.
young. That's a lot. That takes a lot of courage. I didn't have any kind of courage like that. I didn't have anyone that I could show. And then you leapt into, okay, working for this company, having a plan, have that plan go a little differently. but it was a wonderful experience for 10 years. Yeah. And then getting into coaching and not just coaching, but getting ICF certification. That's a real accomplishment. That's a big
Yeah.
accomplishment. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yes, it was a really wonderful experience, just so eye-opening and heart-opening. And then I on that walk, I came up with the business that I was going to start when I got back called Design Within, where I was going to combine my love of home and landscape and coaching and help clients sort of dig into the bigger, what they were really seeking in their homes as far as, ease or color or, you know, a shift in the mood. And because I was an interior painter as well as a landscape designer and an interior designer, we got to choose from lots of different things that they wanted to get help with. And again, I was thinking I'd be doing that for a few years, and it ended up to be, I think, almost 8 years or so that I did that business. So that was really eye-opening for me. In that time period when I was working in Design Within, I put myself through a master's program and got a master's in human development. And the thesis for my master's was the genesis of my book, Compassionate Decluttering.
Mm.
So I, it was about, so I got that master's in 2008, so a while back. But there was this calling that came to me that in my experience of being in people's homes, I really got a sense that I was really interested in the deeper why of their home and what was the biggest dream and want they had for their home and what was in the way. And a lot of the times it was just the way they were thinking about their home. What, what they felt blocked by, things that they felt in generationally they needed to keep, the heirlooms or whatnot, or the way they were thinking about their stuff was old patterns and rules that they adopted. But when I would talk to them about, you know, if you were to choose that rule again, how would you change it or would you eliminate it? Just even being curious about questioning what has been to what can be, it was really fun opportunity to kind of work through that with people. And that's the story of why I wrote my book. And the first 5 chapters are doing some emotional connecting with your stuff, with yourself and with your stuff, because um, it's it's changing, it's redesigning the rules around how you want to live and recreating or just uh, imagining, visualizing your room and your life and your space without the stuff that's, really weighing you down or overwhelming your
Yeah.
ability to make decisions.
As you're talking, I'm thinking, a person's home, and everyone's a little different in how they view their home.
Yeah.
Some people like to move and always constantly have new spaces. But for most people, your home is very personal.
Mhm.
And it reflects, I believe, and I'm sure you know this through all of your research and everything that you've done, it reflects what's on the inside of them sometimes in a physical form on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and when you say compassionate decluttering, someone who is cluttered in their home could have things that maybe they're hiding from. So they're trying to put stuff around so that you don't see necessarily the inside, or they themselves are not able to face it. So they're like putting all these distractions everywhere. And I literally just came to that conclusion as right now, as I was saying it,
Mm.
because I was thinking of my mom, who was a big,
Mm.
she had so many tchotchkes, I call them. Is that what they call
Yep.
tchotchkes?
Yep.
All over everywhere in the house. And to this day, as I was saying it, I thought, oh my gosh, she was covering up for some things. And
Mm.
maybe that was a way to distract. Like, look, I've got all these things. See, I'm a very happy person. See, kind of
Mm.
like convincing herself that there are
Mm.
things that are okay that may not necessarily be okay.
And to the degree that it gets in the way of someone's happiness, that's what interests me. Those are the
Yeah.
individuals that who want to kind of be, they're more curious about the stuckness or the overwhelm or whatnot, and they want to shift and change and move through that or not have that weight anymore. Those are the individuals that I would love to share time with because I'm not a prescriptive coach in this way, virtual mindset coach. I'm not gonna, I don't have a one, two, three, you know, steps to getting clear because every single human being comes into into their life, into their moment with so much history, right? So much personal experience. No two people are alike. So the joy of working with a client who's interested in moving forward to a different living space is just the beautiful and very understandable process of thinking and ways of being and ways of acting and ways of saving. It all makes sense.
We'll be right back. What if the life you're dreaming of doesn't require becoming someone new, but finally becoming you? At Ladies Who Leap Coaching, I help women discover their confidence, purpose, and authentic identity using my Identity Bloom method. And I have changed many women's lives, and some men's lives too, to a place of self love and self trust. Join my Identity Bloom Circle group program at a low cost point and start growing into the life you were meant to live. You can find it on my website at ladieswholeap.com because your next leap begins with you. Now back to the show. So, what do you do with clients to lead them on that journey of reimagining their home to number one, reflect their own personality and also get rid of the clutter? And in the beginning, when
Yes.
I was reading your bio, you mentioned that you do have like a team. At the heart of your work is kind of a team of different
Yeah,
people that you work with. How does that work?
it's a great question. And it's taken me a while. When I changed my business to compassionate decluttering, before that, I was home coach off. And everybody was wondering, what the heck does a home coach off do? This is similar question, but at the same time, I think I have a better answer. So um first and foremost, most simply, I ask my clients to stop looking at their stuff, just to stop focusing on the piles and the corners and the shelves and whatnot, and just to start imagining the life they could have, they will have when this stuff is gone. And
Mm-hmm.
it's orderly, and imagine yourself walking through that front door and it's all done. And you walk in and imagining what you're going to feel and, of course, see when you're in that space that's completely done and you did all the work and you love everything you see. And it's that energy and vision and, motivation that I love to tap into because that knowing of what your life is going to be like will sustain you through the difficult process of the schlepping and the deciding and the doing and the shifting all this stuff. And so I work on all that internal stuff. And we talk about, great Aunt Betty's, vases and collection or whatnot. And we talk about love. We talk about understanding. I have an activity that I have clients do, and it's in my book, so anyone can do it. You just spend 24 hours doing only things that you love. You wake up at the time of day you want to wake up. You put on the clothes you love, and you either meet with people you love, or do things you love, or just just love, love, love all day long until you go to bed at the time you love, and you just document yourself experiencing love so that you can identify when you look at the things on the walls that have been there forever, you know, relative to the other vases, her Aunt Betty's vases, like, which one do you love more? So now you've got this sense of knowing, where love lives in your heart and soul and mind, and we develop those kind of skills of noticing. And then when the client feels really like they're actually get like ready to get on the horse and go galloping towards their home that's going to show up one of these days, the vision that's going to show, and they need help. Decluttering is one of the most complicated transformations that anyone can go through. And I will land on my sword by saying you cannot do it alone. You, most most people, I would say almost 95% of people can't do it alone. You need help because it's emotional, it's physical, it's social, it's generational, it's logistical, and it's complicated. So I connect with professional organizers all over the country. And so, because I'm virtual coach, I can coach anybody. And I want to make sure I have a professional organizer in the area where my client is and develop a relationship with that organizer. And together, the three of us, create this triangle of support between the client, myself, and the professional organizer. And I have a pilot program that I've been running here in Minneapolis for the last year, and with team decluttering, I call it. And it's really revolutionizing the way my clients are actualizing that vision. And it's really super exciting. And my clients are saying, I will never go back to the way I was living before. And that piece is so profound because there's a cycle that can develop with people, right? And even when you have help, now you got help and got someone to fall back on if you get out of whack. And my clients are saying, no, I don't ever want to get out of whack again. Or if I do, I know it, I'm noticing it, and I get myself back on track, calling Michelle if I need, or calling the organizer if I need, but they know what they need because they know they're off center. So it's really a really phenomenal process. And I kind of dreamt up all this in 2008 and it's coming to fruition. This is 18 years in the making, Um, and I didn't have a lot of support in my vision until I went to a workshop or mastermind that I went in with a very wonderful Sandra Yancey, who's a e-women network founder um, for women entrepreneurs. And in 2 hours of spending time with her, she could understand and encapsulate my vision in a whole new way that, I waited 18 years for that, but I was ready for it at the same time. I had done so much work to get to this place that I just, again, I love how the universe is, if you are seeking, I trust you will find, so, and trusting yourself to find.
Hold that thought, and we'll be right back. This episode is supported by Pacific Business Partners. Here's what I love about Angelica and her team. They don't just hand you a spreadsheet and walk away. Their fractional CFO service is for the founder who's outgrown DIY but isn't ready to hire a full-time finance leader. Monthly strategy calls, cash flow forecasting, pricing analysis, and someone in your corner helping you make the big decisions with real numbers behind them. If you're scaling, planning a launch, or just tired of guessing what the data is telling you, visit pacificbp.com. And now back to the great discussion. I love that you really almost take the people. Well, first of all, I imagine that some of these people have gotten pressure from their family.
Oh, yeah.
And pushing doesn't get someone to do something. They have to realize themselves that they want to make a change. But then when they're in your capable hands, you make them feel safe. So I'm sure there are family members, kids, whatever, around them, relatives that are like, oh, thank God that this person went to Michelle. And thank God that they're getting help, because no, it's not easy and it's very easy to fall back on the
Yeah.
wagon. And I
It's
know that having what they're saying to you means they had a huge breakthrough. And that means it's not coming back. And if it does, and they're aware now that because awareness is key in
yeah,
transformation, they're now aware, now they know who they can call and get help
yeah,
from. So that's phenomenal. This is a whole, I mean, I know they have TV shows about this with
yeah.
reporters and all that kind of stuff. But from a practical perspective, you have a way of doing this that not a lot of people do, I don't think. I think it's more
I
unique in that sense.
Well, thank you for recognizing that. And I have yet to meet anyone. There are coaches, there are home coaches out there and virtual home coaches. And there can be others because we need help, all the help we can get. As in coaching, there's just me with my what I bring to the coaching table is unique as any other coach is unique. And to the degree I can be of help and support, I will find my people and other coaches in the world will find theirs. But no one is really doing what I'm doing again in collaboration and significantly in collaboration with other professional organizers.
Before we move on to my next question, which I ask all of the clients, what is your align method?
Ah, well, it's an acronym
Yeah.
for it's really a condensed version of my book.
Okay.
And the summary is A stands for acknowledge. It's about waking up one day and saying, you know what? I've read a lot of these decluttering books. I've gotten a lot of support, and I keep coming back to the same mess. I might be at the center of this issue that I need to do some more, soul searching and acknowledging, like, acknowledging I don't want to live like this anymore, or acknowledging that I might be a part of this that I need to unravel a little bit. And so that's the A part of acknowledging. Um, and L is the love piece where we're focusing on leading with love in the process. Seeking, finding, identifying, understanding what it feels like to differentiate what feels loving in your home. And the I is about the imagining, the visioning, imagining your home when all this stuff is gone and creating an incredible, vision that propels you forward and sustains you. And the G is grounding in the fact that you will need support. And that's fantastic time for defining what that support is. If not, I've got professional organizers if you want, but you got somebody else in your life, great. But you can't do this alone. And or you would have already done it because most of my clients are absolutely all my clients, honestly, are absolutely brilliant, capable professionals who have done magnificent things in their life and with their families and communities. So support beyond in this specific realm is really critical. And then the N is about nurturing, nurturing yourself and your home as you move forward in life because stuff's going to come in, stuff's got to go out. You're going to change over time. We're becoming somebody every single day. So your space has a place and the capacity to change and become something different too. And you have to pay attention to that and nourish yourself and your space in the process.
Well, I'll tell you, I am not a decorator. And I have taken your advice in the sense that when I was married, we did a whole remodeling going from 900 square feet to 2,200 square feet. And I literally went to the people I knew in my life that were good with remodel, with
Yep.
decorating. I said, you get this room, now you get that room, now you get that room. And that's how I ended up getting some really beautiful ideas for these different rooms.
Yeah.
I said, the only thing that it had to have, because we were living at the time I was living by the water, I said, it has to be somewhat water focused.
Yay.
So everybody took that and they did it. So I have a lot of admiration for people who know how to decorate. I mean, if you're looking at the video of this, there's a beautiful bookcase that's very nicely done. That was also a friend that came in, and that's something that's his specialty. So I said, can you come help? So asking for help is the next
Yes.
question that I always ask people. It is a sign of strength When you know,
Yes.
I don't have this skill, I want to ask and I need help. And then when you're having bad days, because everybody has them, right?
Hmm.
So when you have those kind of days, who do you lean on during that period? Or how do you overcome those days yourself, if that's the case?
Ah, that's a really good question. I have built an incredible system of support in my life. In the marriage I was in, it wasn't the most supportive, and I was managing quite a bit of my family um, logistics and you know this the spirit energy of our family. Um, and so over the years, I've got an incredible group of a women's circle group that I'm in. Um, and when I feel a little off and there a heaviness or lost kind of feeling, um, I what has come out of that group for me is the mantra, I trust myself and I know my truth. And I might be in a place where it's gray or foggy, or I don't know what to do next, but I just pay attention to signs and people and energies that I'm feeling to know, am I getting closer to figuring it out? Or is this getting in the way of me figuring it out? What I should be doing next or how I should help myself through a hard process. Um, I just, again, others having support and having a sense of, I've been through this before. I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to get to wherever I need to get to in time. And it's just keep moving kind of thing and keep staying aware and curious. As a seeker, it's fun for me to do that. So, I mean, I just have a lot of hope and I see a lot of possibility in my life now than ever before. So I'm super content in life.
Do you have someone that you can just call and just say, okay, I just need someone to listen to what I have to
Yes,
say? Yeah.
absolutely. I've got actually a group of six other women in that world for me. So um yeah. I mean, and we go to protests and we go for walks and you know talk about their dreams and where they're stuck and their stage of stuckness informs my stage of stuckness or in some way, shape, or form. Always, you just learn so many things from other people. And I love getting to the heart of the meat of the tomato with my friends and my people. And we're just tell me what's real. Tell me what's really going on. And the same thing with my clients. This is a place and space for us to share, the things that are tripping you up or, you know, obligations or shoulds that we shit on ourselves. Pardon
And
my
talking
French.
about, yeah, your clients, do you have like a story about a client where your assistance, what you provided, had a big impact on them, and it was something that really stuck with you that you'd like to share?
Oh, sure. I, oh, wow. There's so many wonderful stories, but I would say, um, my client Lisa turning 70 kind of had been pretty, ashamed of her house in a way, felt judged. It wasn't so much shame as judged. And wouldn't really let people into her house for years. And, you know, she was so courageous in calling me, and you can feel the pent up um, anxiety and stress and you know, uh, to dial those numbers and make the call. And there's usually tears, like, that happen. And she's had a complete understanding of what she wanted. She had a great vision for what she wanted. In essence, it was the antithesis of where she was. She wanted a home where it was an open door policy, where people could come in and out with ease and comfort and just familiarity. And she was so darn tenacious. She worked on different mindset practices that she wanted to instill every single day. She would put herself through a ritual of the mantras that she would say to herself, the music she would listen to, the the things she would do, the lists she was making, the checking off, the people she was incorporating in her life to help her. That woman, in like maybe a year and a half, she's bought a new place, selling her old place, creating this community in this brand new, 55 plus space, independent living. And that's she's just Cheshire grinning the entire time she's telling me about what's happening in her life because it's all the things that she had dreamt of and wanted to manifest. And um and she did it, from at 70 years old. There's never too late to create the home that you love. And
Yeah.
she's just on fire, man. She's just on fire. It's
I
fun.
love it. I love it. So, lastly, I always ask my guests to share their favorite quote, mantra, or positive affirmation. You gave a little hint of one. So, what
Yeah.
would you like to share? Yeah.
Well, it as maybe I gave it to just gave it too soon, but um, I guess when you trust when you trust your inner knowing, the next right step always appears. That's what I would say
Mhm.
is what I would share in closing.
And that is your quote, and that's how you live your life. You
Yeah,
always have. Yeah. And it's
yeah.
nice because a lot of us don't necessarily live our lives like that and go through decades of just not hearing or listening to ourselves, but listening to everybody around us and doing what they need and the people pleasing. And, I'm
Ah,
doing for others, but not listening to myself. So, Michelle, you have to give yourself a lot of credit. It was very healthy for you to listen to yourself always when you were making the next step and or staying in the same place for 10 years. You acknowledge this was a great place to stay and it was unexpected, but it was where you stayed. You learned a lot of techniques, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of wonderful experiences that moved on to the next thing. So give you a lot of credit.
exactly.
Not only is it
Thank you.
courageous, but it was a very healthy way of living. And that's through my own knowing of my methods working with clients that the way way you've handled your life is a healthy way of handling it. So good for you.
Thank you so much. That really feels I feel seen and heard and all that. So thank you so much.
You're
So,
welcome. And the fact that the 70-year-old woman, yes, you can make a change in your life. It doesn't matter your age. You can change anything in your life and it doesn't matter your age. So I love that
amen.
philosophy. Yeah. So how can
Amen.
people reach you? What is like one good spot? I'll put all of your social media and everything,
Yeah.
in the information, but what is one place that's the main place for them to reach out to you?
I think my website, compassionatedecluttering.com, is really the best place to start. I am on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn under Compassionate Decluttering as well. So they'll have no problems finding me.
It's a great
I'm
name
in,
too. I have to say, great name, compassionate decluttering. Nobody's going to forget that. I have a feeling because it kind of just fits really well together. So, Michelle, thank you for joining me. I'm really feel very honored that you were on the podcast and have shared this information about your life and what you do.
oh, wow. Lisa, I'm so honored to have been here. Thank you so much for getting in touch with me and feeling a connection like I feel that connection with you as well. So thanks so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. And remember, she has a Amazon best-selling workbook called Compassionate Decluttering, same name. And the second part of it is how to soulfully surrender your stuff. I love that.
Absolutely. And that can be found on Amazon very easily. And I have an audiobook as well in case you don't want to have a book around in your house.
No,
So,
you can take a walk and listen to it. That's when I put those in my ear. I love doing that when I walk the dog that now has said she wants to leave the room. So thank goodness her timing is just right as the podcast is ending.
I love it. That's so great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, and get in touch with me if you have your own lovely leap story to tell, because everybody learns and gets inspired by stories. So I love doing this. Have a great
That's
rest of the day. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank
Thanks so much for tuning into the Ladies Who Lead podcast. This episode was brought to you by Pacific Business Partners, helping women entrepreneurs build businesses with clarity, structure, and soul. If you're ready to take the next leap, learn more at pacificbp.com or follow at Pacific Business Partners on Instagram. And I'll see you in the next episode.